Thank you, Mark. I will speak for about 15 minutes. Then I'll let you make comments and remarks. And I like students because they're very provocative. They say what they think. And I hope I can provoke some ideas. And we can have a short discussion after my presentation. Altogether, I was given 30 minutes, right? So I'll use that time to talk to you about the tourism brand we're building in Hungary. And in general, of course, as an introduction, I will speak about country branding from a Hungarian perspective. Now, as we are also heading the European Council as presidents, it's a very good time to brand Hungary and to introduce our ideas and to position our country. Today, each country is a brand. As we have seen from Armand's presentation and the question, the north of Spain and Latvia might be competing for green summer. So we are all in competition with each other. And of course, we are working together towards Europe as a number one destination. I would like you to move this from here because I might get agitated. And thank you. So I think it is important that we are not only competing, but we're also building a brand together, Europe, and we compete with Asia. I'm sorry to say we have to beat Asia, even as Hungary is heading to become a major medical tourism destination. We know that the Far East are very strong. Singapore is very strong, and Turkey, much closer, of course, in Europe, is very strong. So how do we do that? How do we define a strong brand, and how do we position? Of course, it's very simple to take the original ideas of Porter and say, when you establish a brand, you have to look at three things. And I would like you, by the end of this little talk, to measure what I've said according to those three dimensions. The first dimension is that, is it unique? Is the brand unique? Is the product unique? Referring back to the question of Green Summer, is it unique? When I establish a brand, it has to be something that's only found in that country at that particular time in that particular constellation. The second thing that you need to consider or measure is there a competitive advantage? You might call it a cost advantage, but you have to be very careful not to confuse cost advantage with underpricing. And it's very important not to compete on price. It's been a tendency in Hungary that we try to compete on price, but then I've seen, for example, when you talk about dentistry, medical tourism, I've seen ads, for example, come to Sofia, Budapest quality for half price. So it never ends. If you start competing on price, it will never end. So the third dimension where you have to measure your brand or your branding activities is, are you focused? Did you identify a focus area, a target segment, in other words, that will bring you closer to the market and will actually target the audience that you're reaching, that you're trying to reach? Now, a well-functioning brand is characterized by a single, clearly identifiable image at all levels, from culture, and we are here to discuss cultural diplomacy as well, not only tourism, then economic diplomacy to government communication. And the brand has to be understandable. It has to be very clear and understandable to all. It has to cut across cultures, countries, and it has to create an image that is very clear. But why is it important to create or reshape a country's brand? Now, if you look at today's situation, 30 years ago, we did not have this level of globalization. Globalization means a free movement of not only goods and people, but prominently, and we can see that, prominently it's information. Information that moves very easily, very fast, and you cannot stop the movement of information. The information society, if you think of Twitter or Facebook, it's all there. It's there. So in such an environment, it's really very important, as it was very clear from the Latvian presentation, to establish something that's very clearly transmittable or deliverable across cultures. Take your time, take it easy. I think it's a very good, very strong brand that Latvia is creating. Now, what do we do in Hungary? In Hungary, what we focus on is quality of life. Quality of life, Lebensqualität, and you could translate it, of course, with more or less difficulty to any language, is the way you live when you're young and you continue to live as you're getting older. Now, quality of life is still very wide. It's still a wide concept, and there have been many different indexes to measure quality of life. But if you think of the association between GDP and welfare, the classic example is building a highway, building a freeway. It will increase your GDP, but it might decrease your welfare if you're living next to a road that is really busy and there's noise and there's pollution. Now, quality of life is something more on the welfare side. When you develop a quality of life index, and we'll organize a conference in Budapest in May to discuss quality of life and, of course, responsible tourism and sustainable tourism, the focus is, how to define quality of life. How do you measure quality of life? The idea is to work with 14 different countries, again, across cultures, across continents, to define something that we can all understand, we can all measure, and we can all manage. Because you can only manage what you can measure. Now, the new Hungarian government taking office in May last year has set the objective of developing a coherent country brand. The two basic pillars of this work have been two councils. One is the Country Brand Council, which is bringing together opinion leaders and key actors from economic and cultural life with experience in the field of country communication. And then there was a government body called the Country Brand Working Group, which is bringing together public institutions, different ministries, government agencies who are responsible for communication. And of course, it's not only economics, but also culture and science that are represented. The situation last year was that there were many different bodies trying to communicate Hungary as a product towards different markets or different directions. First of all, there was ITD. It's promoting foreign direct investment to Hungary. So if you are taking a decision whether to invest in Europe or the US or Asia or Latin America or Australia or Africa, we would say, come to Hungary because these are the advantages. This is the way you will be able to do business. So ITD, International Trade and Development for Hungary, ITD, the organization was communicating the country brand from a foreign direct investment and FDI point of view, and their measure was how much FDI there is. Also, we have agricultural marketing. Agricultural marketing is vital because Hungary is still partly agricultural. We have great wines, wine from Tokaj, wine from Villány. We have great food. Think of goulash as our national dish. You can taste that when you come to receptions in any place in Hungary. Although we Hungarians, we are bored with goulash, but everybody's tasting goulash. So the AMC, the Agricultural Marketing Center, are communicating Hungarian products, but first of all, Hungary as a brand. Reliable food, and good drinks. There's another agency for cultural diplomacy. Here in Berlin, you will find Collegium Hungaricum. It's a great place where you see a lot of culture, and it's really on the cutting edge of new cultural trends. They have projections, they have installations, and they also portray an image of Hungary as a cultural power, not only thinking of Bartók or Kodály, but also contemporary artists in folk music or opera, or even Yonder Boy, who's a different generation. Now, also we have the Tourism Marketing Agency. The Tourism Marketing Agency is the body that is organizing today's, and at ITB is organizing the presentation of Hungary as a brand. Each organization have their own emphasis, which is good, but we also need a voice that we can clearly speak in. Now, consequently, we started to define the major pillars for our country brand, and we found that although there are 40 million visits, including day trippers, to Hungary per year, and there's in general a lot of interest in terms of FDI, agriculture, I mean food and wine and culture, we still lack this brand that will uniquely identify us, express the competitive advantages and focus. In line with the priority of the new Hungarian government's development plan, we said that what we should define, how we can contribute to quality of life, is the one unique aspect that we have, and it will be very narrow. This communication will be very narrow, but can be complemented with communication in other fields. So we decided that since Hungary is number one in the world regarding the diversity of therapeutic thermal waters, this is the pillar that we should foremost use. In Germany here, in Berlin, what we say, Quelle der Gesundheit, it's also very wide. It's a source of health, Quelle der Gesundheit. But what we need to communicate across cultures is that if you come to Hungary, use our therapeutic thermal waters. It doesn't mean you have to be ill to use the waters. You will see at the Hungarian stand those images, those spots even, TV spots, on how you can go to Hungary and enjoy a party at a bath at night with music, with installations, with projections of images, and basically a young audience. I was speaking in London last year to Richard Quest, and I asked him, when are you coming to Hungary? He said, I don't know. He's a top CNN person. He's a media personality, a media celebrity. But he said, I don't know when I'm coming, but the last time I cannot forget, because I went there to enjoy a party at night at a Hungarian bath. So this says that therapeutic thermal water can be used for a young audience. It can be used, of course, for rheumatology and psoriasis and many other diseases as well. But you can also very simply relax, go to Széchenyi bath and play chess in the water with the local audience. You will never beat a Hungarian chess player there, but it's a unique experience. So we thought that this would be the number one pillar. Now, of course, Hungary is not only therapeutic thermal waters, all those over 1,000 different springs, but it's also the green economy. It's also the market economy and also creativity that we use to support the country brand. Creativity meaning Rubik's Cube and many other Hungarian inventions that you could list off, maybe not off the top of your head, but if you research a little bit into Hungary. Now, a country's brand, and this is my last thought for today, a country's brand must go in tandem with a development plan. You cannot just build a brand, you need resources. It was mentioned also in the Latvian presentation that economics is about the optimum use of scarce resources. So you should focus your resources around that brand. That means it's not enough to communicate a brand, you have to actually establish the brand. In Mark's remarks, in your little introduction of myself, you mentioned the National Development Plan. In the new Széchenyi plan, Széchenyi is a 19th century Hungarian politician. In the new Hungarian National Development Plan, we considered 7 areas where we need to develop and where we need to focus European money, Hungarian money, and United Nations money. And these 7 areas include health industry, including health tourism, green economy, and developing many other fields with the goal of increasing employment and inducing economic growth. So we think the health industry is really a piercing point for Hungary. We identified the links between the health industry and tourism, and we use the brand, basically the tourism brand of Therapeutic Thermal Waters, to create an image of a country that is worth visiting for several different segments. Of course, we establish our countries, target countries as well. We establish B2B and B2C countries where we have different tools to communicate. It's still a long way to go. As I said, we only came on government last year. But I think we can establish the brand and strengthen the brand by very clearly showing you our values and very clearly creating an image. Now, this image is also to be seen at the ITB stand of Hungary. So I would like to invite you to gain your first-hand impressions at the Hungarian stand at ITB, still on today, and also later in other places in Europe and outside Europe. We've done this in India together with Poland, Czech Republic, and Slovakia. Japan, because as mentioned again in the Latvian presentation, we have limited funds. So we build an alliance with other Central European countries to market us together in the Far East and countries where we have more difficult reach and where it would require more budget. So I hope I've given you enough to provoke some questions. I'm still here for another 15 minutes, so please ask any question, and I really appreciate your attention today. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much, Dr. Horváth. Please, your questions and comments. And as always, if you could briefly introduce yourself. Thanks.
My name is Vadim Krasko. I am from Latvia. And for me, there is one question. How medical tourism is promoted in Hungary?
We promote, thank you for the question, we promote medical tourism in Hungary and outside of Hungary as well. With the decision of the European Parliament on the 19th of January, it's now very easy to provide cross-border medical services. Now, the way we promote this is very simple. The message is very simple. There's no long queues. You don't have to wait. There's no long waiting lists in Hungary if you book a trip in advance. It can happen that in other parts of Europe or outside Europe you have to wait days or weeks to get an appointment with a doctor. If you book a package, you can be examined the same day when you arrive in Hungary, or the latest the next day, the following day, and then for the rest of your stay, be it a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, you will get the treatment, and it can even get financed within the EU. So it's time, it's the quality of service, and it's the financing opportunity. But the basic message is you don't need to wait. If you book a trip to Hungary, you will be examined on arrival, be it rheumatology, be it psoriasis, be it any other disease. And the major message is that with over 1,000 natural springs, we have the cure for many, many different diseases. So if we talk about medical tourism, which is not the same as health tourism or wellness tourism, if we focus on medical tourism, the key message would be book now, because on arrival you get you find a doctor. We have several hundreds of hotels where there's at least one doctor on site. At least a rheumatologist is always there 24 hours a day, and there's also a network for each hotel of doctors who are in contract with the hotel. So that's a system that has been built over the past few decades, and that is what we promote. Does that satisfy your question? Thank you.
Okay. You actually were waiting last time, and I didn't get to you. So let me start in the back, and then we'll come to the front. Okay.
Hi, I'm Mary, and I'm actually a student of international tourism. This question might not be a direct question to you, but we are from different backgrounds, and from what I was taught, we retain like 20% of what we hear. And I don't know if it's going to be possible we get like paperwork of these presentations, because when we get back to our different destinations, we can always go back and like I enjoyed what you said about Hungary. I never knew anything about it before, but right now I'm getting enlightened about it. If it's possible, we get like paperwork of the presentation, so that when we get back, we can still fall back to something. Thank you.
If it's okay with you, I'd be happy to put this on our webpage. We want to make all the presentations available to the participants if it's okay with the speakers. So just from our side, we would very much like to do that.
Okay, thank you for the question. The way I work, last night at the hotel, I was changing the whole speech because I need to target it to the audience. And I even changed it while I was sitting here for waiting during the Latvian presentation to gear it towards the audience. You can find in English the Hungarian development plan on the web. You find all our presentations on the web, and I can send this modified speech to the organizers who can distribute it, or you can give me your business card and I can send it directly to you. Although, as I said, I changed it very much even last night, but the message is very clear, and we, of course, have PowerPoint presentations as well. It's always a question why I don't use a PowerPoint presentation, and it's exactly because I want me to lead the discussion, not the PowerPoint presentation, and explain, well, I have to skip this and that and take a different direction. So I will try to satisfy the information need in both ways, in three ways. First, directing your attention to the gotohungary.com website, also by sending this to the organizers and also giving it to you directly. There was another question on this side.
Again, and just to follow up on that, the video footage we're also going to put on the homepage afterwards. So that's another way you can get access to the presentation, the video. So hopefully many different forms. Yeah. I think you were next.
Ian from Ukraine. My question is following. Does Hungarian communistic past actually adds value to its touristic images or creates problems?
Thank you for the question. I was visiting Collegium Hungaricum in Berlin, CHB in Berlin, and they integrate the communist past into portraying the image of Hungary. I will give you one example. Mr. Power, Mr. Gyula, P-A-U-E-R, so it's not power, it's power. He created a very funny image in 1971 of taking a Karl Marx statue's photo and placing on top of it paper cut out, so that if you fold this little greeting card, it will show you how you can transform the image of Marx into the image of Lenin. So it's a Hungarian artist's view of how these two personalities were identical, although one was German, the other one was Russian. So if you don't deny the past, at least that's what I learned in Collegium Hungaricum, but you use it to show you, what's behind us. So you can still integrate the communist past because it added something to Hungary's culture. The old, and it's a very good question because the old image of Hungary it used to be goulash communism. Why goulash communism? Because 1956 saw the revolution, the rebellion against the Russian invaders in Hungary. So the Hungarians rose in 1956, but they were defeated. So what Kádár, who ruled for almost 40 years, he established goulash communism, meaning he fed the people to maintain communism. He gave them goulash to maintain the communist system, and he managed to do this until basically 1989, 1990.
Final two questions then, okay.
I have to apologize to the next presenter. I started 10 minutes late, and I will still go on for another 5 minutes. Apologies.
Thank you. I know I came late. My name is Yehoshua Ben Israel. I'm Program Director, Experience Africa ICD. You had a word in called cure, which virtually is central on your medical branding. My question is, doesn't this cause a liability to you? Because I know over in the United States and in the UK, if you use the term cure, it is seen as not being exact and you can actually be you can be criminalized by using cure rather than using assisting for medical interventions. And don't you feel, unless you have another kind of understanding, that this word as cure, even though it's semantics, has legal liabilities?
Very basic question. Thank you. Of course, in the US, you would use the word line.
Okay. Okay. Final question? Final question, then?
Waiting line, standing in line. But my native language is Hungarian. My second language is my first foreign language is English. I speak some German, and my Spanish is much worse. My French is the worst. But we have a team, an international team, and the word I'm using, therapeutic thermal waters, is much better than using healing, because healing would assume you're sick. And I had discussions with friends from the US, so we don't use healing anymore. So semantics is very important, because all these varieties of English across the globe have different words. Have the same words that have different meanings. Sorry, I just took time to add some more content to my answer, but thank you for the question.
Hello, I'm Han. I'm a student from South Korea. I appreciate your nice presentation, but I have one question. Especially in Asia country, there are a lot of therapeutic thermal water, especially in South Asia, in Far East Asia, there are a lot. Also, most of government in Asia also focused on the medical industry. So also in South Asia, additionally, they have nice weather condition like tropical weather. So I don't want to be rude, but I'd like to know, how can you differentiate your country from like Asia country regarding the industry?
Basic question, yes. Asia is very strong. Singapore Medicine is one organization that we need to work with. You're on a different hemisphere, so we are lucky because you're far away enough from us, and we are far away enough from you. But seriously, I had a Korean delegation, and I was telling them how nice our waters are, because the water is 70 degrees or 100 degrees or 80 when it's gained, and then we need to take the heat away so that we cool down the water to 38, 36, or 40, so that people can bathe in it. And the Koreans told me that's not good, because a Korean wants their water above 40, 45, or even 50 degrees centigrade. I don't know if that's true in your community, but they told me this is bullshit. 36 or 38 or 40, don't convey that message. And this talk and this conversation is giving me a lot of value also, because it reinforces that you cannot portray the same message even if the brand is the same. You cannot use the word that you should use the word line. You should say we are on a different hemisphere. You should be careful what temperatures you put in your brochures. So even though the brand is unified, the message has to be unique. The brand is one, is unified, but the message has to be in every single country towards every single audience unique. Well, thank you for your questions today, and I hope the message has been unique enough and also unified, and it has been one message that cultural diplomacy will help us understand each other, and the goal of my job is not to increase only tourism, employment, and economic growth, but also understanding. And when I was on a Fulbright grant in the US, it was a great opportunity not only to do my doctorate there, but also to meet a lot of international people. Again, thank you for the invitation, and I will send the organizers my adapted text. Thanks. Thank you, Mark.